Welcome back, Wolfpack Brillis here, and this is how to use Smeargle. Smeargle is a Pokemon of infinite potential. That, for those of you who don't know, Smeargle can learn any move in the entire game, which is why its stats look pretty terrible. That with those defenses, it's going to fold like paper. With those offenses, it's going to attack like paper. It writes on paper because it's a Smeargle, painting Pokemon, and its speed is the highest stat that this Pokemon has. 75 speed. That's it. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't really get outspeeds. It's just going to be not strong at all, except that it is one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game, potentially, because you can do whatever you want with Smeargle. For setup, this Pokemon is unrivaled since it can get infinite amounts of combinations, or whatever math says is all the moves times all the moves times all the moves. Now, naturally, you're not going to be able to use every move on Smeargle, but there are a lot of things that Smeargle can do that no other Pokemon can do because of the combinations of moves that it gets. So let's look at its typing really quick. Normal. Normal works because Smeargle is a blank canvas. That it is that blank Pokemon that you create a wonderful battle picture with. That you don't need to have any kind of weird typing combinations to make it any more stronger. That it's just going to be weakness to fighting, immunity to ghost, you're going to do whatever, and most likely it's not going to be offensive, so stab doesn't matter and all those other things. Now, hopping into Pokemon Showdown. I've talked about Smeargle many times in the past, and I have done all sorts of crazy gimmicks. So for this How to Use episode, I was thinking about doing something different and showing these standard basic ways of running Smeargle, and then doing a special episode where I want to feature all of the crazy Smeargle gimmicks. That's probably going to come out on Saturday or Sunday, and I also want you guys to comment in the comments section your favorite Smeargle gimmick. That I already have like my sturdy skill swap shenanigans into Shedinja. I have a lot of really other old school Smeargle ideas. So comment your favorite Smeargle. We're going to do like a huge gimmick session of Smeargle strategies, and I think you guys are going to like that. But for now, we're going to just look at standard Smeargle, and you want to run speed and hit points because you're frail anyway, but you're running Focus Sash, but you're not doing anything offensive. So maybe magical things will happen. I don't know, you're always going to be a 2-hit KO under this situation, and the idea is you lead Smeargle, you take a hit, Focus Sash breaks, you use Spore, and then you just set up on your opponent. You just freaking go to town. You're like, alright, Sticky Web, Stealth Rock, Spikes, still asleep, Spikes, still asleep, Spikes. And then after that, you don't really do much. But the best case scenario on a Smeargle is that if your opponent opens setup, if they're going for Sticky Web, they're going for Stealth Rock, they're going for something like that, you're going to get a free Spore, and then you still have your Focus Sash. So you can switch out Smeargle, since they might be asleep or you might have gotten all the setup that you need. They can rapid spin it away, they can do whatever, and then Smeargle can come in and it still has Focus Sash. So if your opponent opens setup, you know they're only thinking one thing. Because now you know you can't stop it. That you need to 2-hit that Smeargle, and in a lot of situations you're just not going to be able to because Spore has that 100% accuracy. So you hit it, you know Sash is coming, you know you're going to sleep, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you have a Grass-type Pokemon, because Grass-type Pokemon aren't affected by Spore moves, including Spore. And then after that, you have all kinds of setup. Now, I did mention that your best case scenario is against other Pokemon, Stealth Rocks, doing things like that, which is why you might see Magic Coat or Rapid Spin on a Smeargle, and this could be interesting. Now, this isn't a moveset, these are other moves that you can carry. Like, this is the dedicated, hardcore, balls deep, going in, whatever you want to say about it, just super setup moves. Now, Sticky Web and Stealth Rocks, those are your pretty standard ones. Now, instead of Spikes, this is where you could have Rapid Spin or something like that, because Rapid Spin makes it to where, okay, they use Stealth Rocks, you use Spore, now they're asleep. Free Rapid Spin. Sticky Web, Stealth Rocks, switch out. Boom. You still have a Focus Sash, they have no entry hazards, you have all the entry hazards, and their Pokemon still might even be asleep. And if they wake up, you Spore, rinse, repeat, and then you can Rapid Spin, do whatever, and it's just so frustrating to deal with as the ultimate entry hazard Pokemon. Now, Parting Shot is also a cool idea that if you're only going for, like, say, Sticky Web, I've seen people that's like Sticky Web, Stealth Rock, Parting Shot. Now, after that, you even weaken their stats, so they can't even retaliate on the new Pokemon coming in when they do wake up, and it's going to force a switch at some point, which means they have to switch into Stealth Rock and Sticky Web, and then they're just kind of really screwed up by that one. Now, this set is incredibly risky, but incredibly powerful and rewarding. That the idea is you're going to run Power Herb, that way you get your Geomancy on that first turn, and then you go and sweep from there. Now the thing is, Smeargle is very frail, so it has to be against a weaker Pokemon that's opening up, has to be against setup, but if you do get that lucky draw, and you find that opening for that one turn on your opponent, it's pretty much going to be over, because now you have Special Attack, Special Defense, and Speed all doubled, and then you get to do whatever you want. Now, I just prefer that you go with a timid nature. This is going to be a really weird setup because you're going to need timid nature and then defensive investment. That way you're trying to get as much out of that 2-hit KO survival as possible. I was feeling that since he has higher special defense, put more investment into defense, and since Geomancy is doubling your special defense, it's going to be just invest hard into defense, be able to tank up maybe a special attack initially though, and then the rest in the speed. That way when your speed doubles from the Geomancy, you're going to be able to outspeed 135 base speed Pokemon, which is a lot of Pokemon. And then you get to do whatever. Now here's where I'm also going to talk about Moody. Smeargle is one of the few Moody Pokemon, so naturally its stats aren't going to be very high, because with Moody, if you get a huge stat boost at some point and you already have great stats, that can end the battle right there from just getting a good dice roll on Moody. Raises a random stat by 2 and lowers another stat by 1. Now, you can run Moody, and it just means that you're going to be playing a bit more of a risky game, but then it can pay off huge. So say Geomancy. At the end of that turn for Geomancy, stats going up by 2 and the stats going down by 1. Now, ideally, you would drop like attack, you could lose a special defense and gain something else, and that'd be good. As long as you don't lose speed, Geomancy with Moody is going to pair off pretty well. And then you have Protect, then you have Spore. So now you're outspeeding your opponent. You put them down with Spore, that's going to be another Moody boost. You also have Baton Pass. You could use Geomancy again if you feel that they're going to be asleep or you're very tanky right now. You have Protect, that way you can just play it safe, and then Baton Pass. So the idea with this is eventually you're going to get a ton of stats onto Smeargle, your opponent's going to be asleep, and then you Baton Pass into some kind of huge sweeper Pokemon, most likely a special attacker because of the Geomancy, and then it's over for your opponent. You're going to be outspeeding everything, you're going to be having +3, you're going to be super tanky as well, and it can be really crazy. If you don't want to do that, Own Tempo is your next best bet. If they have Swagger or something like that, they're trying to go for Gimmick Confusion, you can outpace that and then not go and get confused. Now with the other sets, pretty much Moody is going to be what you want, that you're not expecting to do much anyways, and if you just get that +2 speed at the end of any of the turns, well then you're good to go, because now you're outspeeding your opponent, and you can kind of turn that into whatever you want. It's mainly on these setup Baton Pass strategies where it could get weird. Now also, you could maybe go White Herb with Shell Smash. I've seen people do that. You're going to be faster, it's not going to let your tankiness get harmed, and then you just immediately Spore Baton Pass, and now you're putting a Shell Smash into any Pokemon while your opponent's Pokemon is asleep. And since you're using White Herb, that Pokemon coming in can have a Focus Sash, which means that now they get to just run away. They get +2, and they get multiple chances to attack, and that's going to be very terrifying. Now, you can't mention Smeargle without mentioning Dark Void, and this is going to be for VGC or any kind of double battles that you bring in Smeargle, you use Dark Void. Dark Void is busted because it puts both opponents to sleep with 80% accuracy, so very good odds that that's going to happen, and then you just kind of win. Now, you are going to need to support Smeargle with a fast Fake Out Pokemon or a Quick Guard Pokemon, and then you just do whatever, because the main thing that shuts down Smeargle is going to be Fake Out. You get Fake Out, Focus Sash is going to pop, and then they can like double hit your side of the field, and it's not going to be fun. So after that, you can just go and set up pretty hard, because you're expecting, okay, you trade Fake Outs, you stop their Fake Out, you're still getting hit because everyone wants to focus that Smeargle. Now your Focus Sash gets popped, you're down to 1 health, they get put to sleep, and you just get to have free reign, because Endeavor is going to lower the target's hit points to the user's hit points. Now sometimes you might even see a straight up level 1 Smeargle, because you're expecting Smeargle to be the slowest Pokemon on the field anyway, you're expecting it to do that, and this way, even if Focus Sash doesn't get popped, you're still going to be using Endeavor for dropping them down to a super low amount of damage. You also have Encore. If you put that Pokemon that was supposed to be using Fake Out to sleep, but the Fake Out got blocked, now you just Encore them, they're stuck in Fake Out, they're going to have to switch, they're also asleep, and then you just kind of make plays around like that. And then there is Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed is going to have +2 priority, which means you're outspeeding any other priority, and with the Endeavor, they're at 1 hit point, you Extreme Speed, boom, Smeargle scoring KOs, the other Pokemon's getting blown up by your other Pokemon, because naturally you're going to want a very hard offensive Pokemon next to that Smeargle, and it's pretty simple. The worst case scenario is that Dark Void doesn't put both opponents to sleep, or any Pokemon to sleep, or that they wake up really early in their Dark Void so you don't get to set up anything. Also, if you are running a level 50 Smeargle, or like whatever Smeargle you have, you might want to go with Moody. That way, after using Dark Void, you can get that speed boost, and now your Endeavor, your Encore is coming at faster pace. So pretty much, if you're going to be running the level 50, go with Moody. If you're running level 1, Own Tempo, that way you don't get confusion shenanigans. And I think that's everything, so remember, post your favorite Smeargle gimmick below. This is just standard Smeargle, and as you can see, it's already a mouthful. So if you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day.